Zach here, your wonderful Fern Sprout community manager. I just wanted to remind you that if you click the subscribe button, your life will become so much better. And if you want to make it even a billion times better, join the Fern Sprout community Discord, because great things will come, like I said 5 seconds ago, as well as updates for future projects and notifications to our Twitch channel. And now I present to you Brendan discussing Slay the Spire. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, I'm Brendan. I'm bad at intros, and I wanted to talk about Slay the Spire. Specifically, I want to talk about what makes it so good. I don't think there's much of a question as to whether Slay the Spire is a good game, a well-designed game or not. But I think that the ways in which Slay the Spire is well-designed are a bit harder to pick at. It's not any one thing that Slay the Spire did great. It's a lot of little decisions. That being said, I think that if there were one thing that makes Slay the Spire so good, it's the design of its card pools. They're designed with a lot of purpose behind them, and once you start picking them apart, you can really see what makes this game so good. So that being said, I wanted to start with the characters and the character design of this game, because I think this is what really gives us the first hint that Slay the Spire is going to provide something that's welcoming to a new player, but also gets them hooked, gets them wanting more. So if you go to start a run, you're presented, well, the first time you play the game, you're presented just with the Ironclad, but after that you're presented with other options. And the first thing I notice when looking at these characters is they're very clear about exactly what they are. The Ironclad's a warrior, the Silent's a rogue, you know, these 3 poisoned kunai, and the Defect is a wizard, right? This imagery right here is very reminiscent of casting spells. And those 3 things, the warrior, rogue, and wizard, are tropes that everyone who has engaged in any amount of fantasy media, or even much of science fiction, immediately knows. They immediately know what they're in for, what to be looking for as these characters, right? The Ironclad's going to be able to take more health, take more damage, and the game's telling you that right here. Right, at the end of combat, heal 6 HP, you're going to be able to tank a lot more. The Silent, these 3 kunai make you feel like you're gonna, or 4 actually, there's a 4th one down there. These 4 kunai make you feel like you're gonna be throwing out cards left and right, doing a bunch of things. Versus the Defect makes you think, okay, you're gonna be, you know, planning at these intricate combos and really power scaling. Wizards in fantasy are often known for sort of power scaling. So the characters provide you with a very clear understanding of what you're in for, and then the card pools are what really make good on that. So this is the card pool of the Ironclad here, our warrior. And the thing that these card pools, the first thing that these card pools really succeed at is capitalizing on the thematic nature of the characters, right? If we look at Ironclad, you're gonna see a lot of, you know, oh, big attack, do damage, right? And then strength. Strength is a very core part of Ironclad. And so players, immediately on jumping in and playing the game, they know what they're gonna expect, and then they see what they expect, right? But going a lot farther than that, all of these card pools have very clear synergies, very clear through lines that they draw. They say this is one of the things that this character is about, right? For Ironclad, it's strength, or one of the things is strength, right? So you have cards that give you strength. You have cards that do better with strength. You have cards that do better with strength. You have cards that give you strength. And you'll notice here, like, it's not one card that gives you strength. There's not one way to get strength. There are many different ways to get strength, and there are many different ways to capitalize on that strength. And it really feels, as you're playing Slay the Spire, these ideas they put in here, the idea of strength is not something that they went, oh, that'd be cool, let's throw it in there, right? They really went, okay, let's explore this mechanic to its fullest. What are all the different ways that we can realistically have the player gain strength and in a balanced and fun way? And so this exploration, how the game explores all of these different concepts, it doesn't just serve to make the game feel like it's fully thought through, but it also serves to guide the player through it. And make the player not feel like at any moment they're playing the game because they need to play the game to understand how to win. They're thinking, oh, I've got this card, so I can go for this strategy, right? Because strength is clearly one of the strategies of Ironclad. And in those first couple of games, despite the fact that they are really learning, you're not going to win, they still feel like they're competent enough at the game that they're not just going to bounce off of it and go, well, I didn't understand it, right? So the ideas present in here and how they're explored are what make this game so compelling and so good. Now that's not to say that the card pools and how they're designed are the only thing that Slay the Spire does well. But I do feel like every other part of the game is built in order to make the deck building, work and connect. The enemy design, the enemies, ask different things of your deck and put pressure on different areas, right? They're not all just stacks of HP that then hit you for increasing amounts of damage so that you have to be better and have a better deck, right? They do vastly different things. There's also the fact that your deck you're not just building one final deck and then testing that against the game. Your deck is important at every fight, every step along the way as you play. And so it really feels like a game about building the deck, not a game about playing the deck, right? Or there's little nuances in the skill of getting your deck through those middle points to the end. And then the Relics, another system in the game, they also sort of push your deck in different directions. There are a lot of really powerful Relics, but none of the Relics are super powerful without the right backup from your deck. None of them do things that are absolutely insane. All of them are just little boosts here and there, right? And there are some Relics that serve somewhat different purposes here. Some of them work really well if you've got just the right deck for them. Others, they don't really care that much about your deck. They just provide you a nice little benefit. But for the most part, every Relic you pick up changes how you're going to build your deck in some way. And all of the design of Slay the Spire all comes back to the decks and the card pools. What can you build? What are you going to expect? And how can you use all the other parts of the game to your advantage or play against them in terms of the enemies? Now, let me go and demonstrate some of these points by playing a little bit of the game. So I'm going to start with the Ironclad here. Let's just hop into it. Oh, the map. There's a lot of decisions in Slay the Spire. And I mean, if we were to distill video games to their purest essence, they're just a series of decisions. But that's perhaps a bit reductionist. A series of fun decisions, I should say. Let's hop into it. So, at the moment, I haven't had a chance to build my deck at all. The game knows that and is throwing a really easy combat at me. But even now, the game, for a first-time player, is teaching you how to play the game, right? It has a little tutorial, do this, do that. And also it's testing how well you know the game, because what you do here will affect the rest of the run. Little losses in HP matter, because rest sites can be used to improve your deck, or to make up for the past HP losses, right? And so it's your deck is being tested every step along the way. Then you see a bunch of cards. Not a bunch of cards, 3 cards specifically. 3 is very often a very good number for decisions. You don't want to overwhelm the player. And they all have different words on them. And just based off of seeing these cards here, you can already tell exactly how they're going to fit into the rest of your deck. Heavy Blade, you need strength, right? How do I get strength? I don't know. Supposedly that's something that the game is going to offer me ways to get. Heavy Blade being here is basically telling me as the player, hey, we're going to offer you ways to get strength in the future. You might not have seen them yet, right? Dropkick, I already have a way to get vulnerable because you start with a card that does that. But you see this and you immediately go, okay, I get a free card, a completely free card, if the enemy is vulnerable. That's a neat thing that I might be able to build around. And anger's a little bit more of a complicated one, but you do immediately see if you keep playing it, you're gonna completely fill up your decks with anger. And so even without any knowledge of the rest of what Ironclad can do, of the rest of the cards in the pool, I can see what Ironclad can do. I can see what cards would combo with the ones right in front of me, even if I don't know their specifics yet. Yep. So, in conclusion, what makes Slay the Spire so great is its card pools, is how those are meticulously designed to give the player a good idea before they've even seen any of the cards of what is in there, and entice them to explore that to its fullest. Thanks for watching.